Now, Sewell will tell us that there are 3 principles that constitute structures. So structures are the principles that pattern social practice. And so what are structures, somebody said? Well, they are principles. They're virtual, okay? They have to be enacted to become real. They have to be instantiated to become real. But they exist. They're principles that pattern our practice. The first is schemas. First principle, schemas. The formal codes, the frames, the metaphors, the assumptions that we use when we enact our social life. Okay? The second is resources. The objects, human qualities, or knowledge that can be used to enhance or maintain power. And the third principle is modes of power. Modes of power specify which schemas are legitimate, who has access to resources, and they adjudicate contestations over these resources. So structures, then, are mutually sustaining schemas, modes of power, and resources that empower and constrain social action and tend to be reproduced by that action. So here we have like a schematic diagram of a structure, a structural form. This recursive enactment among these different principles constitutes the structure. So when we say that an element of a social system is structuralized, we mean it's significantly embedded in the schemas, resources, and modes of power in such a way that support, legitimate, and maintain racial norms. Schemas, the racialized norms of social interaction, conscious and unconscious bias. And resources, the racialized distribution of social goods. And then we have this mutual recursive interaction between them, which we could define as structural racialization. So we see that they interact in ways that produce social inequities and outcomes. Now, of course, structures pattern social action at a whole range of different levels and interact with one another. So we have many structural forms that contain these principles and embody and enact them, right? And some are more deeply layered, is the way it's referred to. Deeply layered means that they've been around a long time and that they have a broad effect across a whole range of social interaction. Many institutions are structural forms. They're often referred to as the rules of the game. But most institutions contain schemas, which are the rules and norms and everything, as well as power and resource sets. They're sets. They all are contained there. And some institutions are deeply layered. I have a picture of the New York Stock Exchange here. Very impressive building. And it has, metaphorically, it conveys right away the modes of power, the capitalist economy, the resources, the financial instruments that are traded and sold on the stock exchange, and the schemas. You see there's a big flag across the whole front of the building, and there's a sort of implication that our capitalist economy is what's driving our democracy and keeping us free, right? Liberty and justice for all. What I'd like you to see when you look at this set of the instantiation of these principles is the tension between them. You see right away that there's some tension between freedom and justice for all and the capitalist economy, right? and it's kind of covered over by the operation of the institution. This interactive nature of it isn't so smooth, it's full of tension. but it's kind of hidden.